Welcome back to day 8 of 31 Monsters in 31 Days. Let's find out who we're making today. Ooh, one of my favorites, the Yeti. Let's get started.
While we're sketching out the plan and making the basic blob shape that all the monsters in this series are built off of, I'm going to give you a bit of a history of the Yeti and why I included them in my monster list. If you want it, I give you a detailed breakdown on how to make the basic blob shape in this video. It's linked in the description. The legend of the Yeti, often called the Abominable Snowman in the West or the Bumble by Yukon Cornelius, has its roots in the folklores of the Himalayan peoples. Ancient myths often describe the Yeti as a complex character, sometimes benevolent, sometimes malevolent, sometimes supernatural guardians of the environment, much more complex than a simple monster. The legend of the Yeti reached Western awareness in the early 20th century during Western exploration of Everest and other Himalayan peaks. In 1954, an American sci-fi horror film called The Snow Creature portrayed the Yeti as a menacing character. In my favorite Christmas special, 1964's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the Abominable Snowman character begins as a ferocious monster, but is ultimately tamed into a friendly and helpful character. Yetis are portrayed as both friendly and evil characters in modern film. Yetis in 2001's Monsters, Inc. and 2019's Abominable are cute and friendly creatures. However, Yetis are shown as villains in 2008's Yeti Curse of the Snow Demon and 2013's Deadly Descent, the Abominable Snowman. I've loved the Abominable Snowman since watching the Rudolph Christmas special as a kid. I don't feel like any monster list could be complete without him, and even though I've already made 2 Yetis on my channel, there's definitely room for one more. Here's the dry blob. It's got 4 layers of paper mache on it. If you want to know how I do my paper mache, I've got a video that tells you my paste recipe, the paper I like, all that good stuff. It's linked in the description. My next step is to make the Yeti's teeth and eyeballs. I need those to dry before I can add them to her face. I'm sculpting these bits with DOS air dry clay. This clay has a lot of fiber and I really recommend it for a project like this. I'll leave a link for this clay and my other supplies in the video description. I'm using this spoon to make the eyeballs super duper smooth. On this one in particular, I think the eyes need to be super perfect. The clay bits are all dried, so I'm giving them a couple coats of white paint. When the paint on the eyeballs is all dry, I'm going to put on some pupils. This is actually a great hack if you're not great at painting little circles. You can just use a regular old office hole punch to cut a couple pupils out of some black paper, and then use a bit of good quality glue to stick them onto your eyeball. With this method, you definitely want to seal the eyes with a top coat. I'm using some glossy UV resin. This will lock those pupils on there and give the eyes a nice glossy finish. We're going to paint the inside of our Yeti's mouth now. I'm gessoing the tongue area first to make sure I get good coverage with my red paint, and I'm keeping it pretty cartoony with this one. Now, for all the other monsters with teeth in this series so far, I've been using paper mache to make the gums, but I want to show you another way to do it here with some air dry clay. Of course, we all know by now I hate painting around little teeth, so I'm using some food coloring to tint my clay so I don't have to paint it later. I'm using some white glue to stick this big snake of clay onto the Yeti's face. Then I'm putting a bit of glue on the base of each tooth and pushing it into the wet clay. Now, this won't work with all brands of air dry clay. I only recommend trying this with either DOS or Creative Paper Clay, so make sure you grab one of those if you want to try this method out. I do the same thing with the bottom teeth, and give the gums a bit of definition with a sculpting tool. I'll set that aside to dry. Here it is dry. I noticed some of the food coloring seemed to leach out a bit in a few places. I don't know why that happened. I've used this technique before and never had this happen. Maybe I used too much food coloring this time? I don't know. With the gums dry, we're going to use a bit of this blue fabric to make some lips. This fabric I have is really thin, so I'm doubling it up. I'm using this twist of paper towel to bulk up the lips a little bit. I'm placing it on the glue-soaked fabric and folding it inside like a little taco. Then I can pick it up off my work surface and wrap it onto the Yeti's face. I do the exact same thing with the lower lip. I'm locking on that fabric with some paper mache around the edges, and I'm letting that paper mache dry again before making the rest of her face. I want her face to look really cartoonish, so I'm going to make that out of air dry clay too. I'm using some good quality white glue to stick this kind of rounded triangular shape onto her head. Put some glue on the back of the eyeballs we made earlier, and I'm pressing them into place. Then I'm blending some small snakes of clay in under the eyes and giving her a little pinched nose. Then again, we're setting her aside to dry. When dry, we're painting out her face with this frosty teal color. We're gonna give her some fur, but I'm still gonna cover the brown with teal paint too. All right, now it's time for the fur. I like to cut my fur into strips. I find it's just a lot easier to work with this way. I'm using a fresh craft blade to slice through the back of the fur fabric. In my experience, this is the best way to cut fur to limit the amount of loose hairs everywhere. Cutting it with scissors is a lot more messy. Starting at the bottom, we're hot gluing our strips around our Yeti blob. The fur on this hair is pretty long, so I can get away with leaving a bit of space between the strips of fur. Another good tip for working with fur is to pay attention to the direction that the fur kind of grows or lays. Around the face, I'm laying it so it grows away from her face. And then on top of her head, I'm laying it so it stands straight up. Of course, when I finished her fur, I realized I hadn't top coated the mouth, so I'm giving her mouth a glossy top coat of UV resin. And as final finishing touches, I'm hot gluing some black felt onto the bottom of our Yeti, and I'm also giving her this ridiculous little hair bow. And here's our finished Yeti. I think she's so cute. If you agree, if you think I did a good job, give this video a like. If you disagree, tell me why in the comments. Today, I'm gonna ask you to share this video with a friend you think might like it. I'd so appreciate it. Since I'm a smaller channel, anytime you hit that share button, it really helps me out because it tells YouTube this video is worth watching. Heck, hit share and just copy the link and you don't even have to send it to anyone. It still helps me out. If you want to watch the build of a much bigger Yeti, you should check out this video. I'm really proud of it. I'll leave a link to that in the description. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss tomorrow's monster. You can watch it ad-free and sometimes early on my Patreon. And again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.